Okay, welcome back to Equal Footing. So, we've got a big game here to kick off the community challenge for this week. Koolcat here, up against Aries. So Koolcat, Red Trunks, Egyptians player, up against a Red Trunks Indians player. Forgive me, I've just woken up. Up against a Blue Trunks Egyptians player in Aries. So two of the strongest players that are active at the moment, and two of the strongest players in general. These two, so it's gonna be a hell of a match. We're here today on Equal Footing, so one of the more standard maps. Don't think we're going to see anything in the way of a rush though. These guys are both quite solid at their mid to late game, so I think they'll be both working towards a quick town centre here. Oh no, Aries is getting 200 wood. Aries gathering quite a bit of wood there, but deciding against getting it. Oh, he must have been checking to see if Koolcat was going to spear rush. So he's played a bit defensive there, gathered a bit of extra wood early. Koolcat just working towards age 2 by the looks of things. Aries getting hunting dogs. Koolcat skipped it for now. So I think Aries was just really letting himself have the chance to go for a defensive barracks if he needed to, or then just, you know, go straight for that. She has Koolcat skipping the tech, which is interesting. I mean, if you know you're going to get spear rushed, or you're a bit worried you will, it's a good idea to avoid it early. But if you know you're not, then just take it. Like, it's definitely worth it. I know Koolcat's probably intending to get it once he gets the second town centre. So in a way, doesn't really put him that behind. It just sort of means this first hunt runs out a little bit quicker. He was going to go for the ball and decided against it by the looks of it. Or maybe that was over in TC range, so he got some of the shots off. Yeah, both our players aging up. Aries is actually just as quick as Koolcat on that, even though he did squeeze in hunting dogs there. And his population will start to climb over Koolcat for a little bit because he's aged on 12 villages. Aries started aging on 12 as well, but he's able to produce villages through the age up, so he will be a couple ahead here. The Egyptians, you know, their villages train time actually takes a little bit longer than the other civs, even with Priestess of Ra empowerment until you get Touch of Ra, then it's the same. So if anything, the villager production is just flat out worse than everyone else's. Oh, and this is a handy trap here from Aries. Oh, he's even watch posting it. Oh god, he's... So that was really ended up being worth it because Koolcat's now got to invest in another storehouse here. So very smart. You know, it's a bit like if you've ever played StarCraft or watched it and you've seen people like deny the natural expansion, you know, the natural second base, by throwing down like an armory or a bunker, or, you know, Zerg might get their own hatchery or something offensively. So Koolcat's TC placement's a little bit questionable. In fact, he just sort of went stuff and I'm just going to throw it down because otherwise Aries is just going to keep trying to cock block me. Because the scout's faster than the villagers. And as long as Aries has got enough wood in the bank, he can sort of, you know, start a couple of watch posts, maybe even delete some as he goes. But his TC, it's really only on the wood line there. This kind of frees it up to both guard the gold and the wood rather than just one of the two. And ultimately, a lot of the time for Egyptian you generally want quite close town centres. Because you'll be playing quite defensively other than when you're attacking with the camels. Not necessarily always the case, but just as a general rule of thumb, Egyptian generally is a pretty defensive civ. other than camel raids. Especially up against civs where they've got access to bowmen. Against the other like mass melee early game civs, so the ones that have only got access to like slingers or skirmishers, and then good melee units. Egyptian, funnily enough, tends to play more aggressively in those matchups than they do against India, Persia, Greeks, Babylonian. Oh, Babylonians a bit up in the air. Just because their go forward in Age 2 really tends to rely on lancers. In fact, their whole compositions tend to just really rely on lancers. But yeah, for Persia, India and Greeks, Egyptians is often a little bit passive with things like town center placement, and just trying to make use of camels to both counter any raids and also be able to do them and really force the opponent to have to produce spears. Like the other civs, if you're playing India versus Norse and you start raiding one another, well, you can use the raiders versus the Turanga, or vice versa, really quite well. It's a pretty even sort of trade. But camels just flat out beat all of them, so... It's enough sort of rambling about why Egyptian tends to be a tad more defensive in these sorts of situations whenever they're not camel raiding, and so they'll, structure their base accordingly. Koolcat's TC is only marginally further apart though, so these guys, a lot of respect for one another. They're not going to go for something stupid and have like a really forward town center. Koolcat, very quick on that. He hasn't yet got Loom, but he pulls out of there straight away. Ares just basically focuses down the storehouse, knowing he's probably not going to kill one of these guys in time. Well, he possibly could have got one there. I mean, it's a fair bit of travel distance, and there's no spears yet for Koolcat. And Koolcat's actually making Turanga through this. He is adding 2 Raxes behind this. The Turanga being on the field gives Koolcat obviously the opportunity to raid himself and get a bit of an idea of what Ares is going with. Try and tempt Ares into keeping to producing camels and not necessarily just spamming a lot of axemen behind this. So Koolcat can, just spam spears off 2 Raxes, maybe add a range next, possibly, or just look at aging. So yeah, he is going to start aging. He has taken one of his choose one technologies. He's gone for the villagers, production speed, and elephants production speed. He's just trying to be active enough with Turanga. He doesn't really want to stick around for any fights, but if he's active with the Turanga, it just means that Ares can't just basically make axemen and then go straight to getting chariots as well behind it, or getting on elephants really early if he's having to invest in a lot of camels, because while right now they counter Turanga, in Age 3 that's not really going to be the case. It's going to be pretty even trade. There's not a huge force here for Koolcat to defend this at the moment. Be a little bit careful here because Ares is actually just really committing to water heavy Age 2. Gonna get tempted behind this. So rather than Ares having to play defensively, he's just massed up a bit of an army and pushed out here. Koolcat's actually been the one to get caught with not quite enough army at the moment. I mean, I don't know if this is necessarily going to decide the game here. Koolcat's base is really defensive at the moment, but he does need like champion Garda warriors or champion Turanga to actually win some fights here. He's down 45 villages to 47. Economy's not looking too bad. He just hasn't been producing any armies. Invested in Age 3 instead. Koolcat's bringing these guys in. Is he getting on food? Yeah. This is really rough for Koolcat because he's not getting any damage done behind this. I think he did send that single Turanga over there, but wasn't really able to get any value out of that. He is producing. He's getting the chariots as well. Bearing in mind the camels don't yet have their champion upgrade, so they don't quite counter the chariots yet. who'll be really, really good against the Axemen. Some spears. And, Garda warriors coming out now. Koolcat's backed himself into a corner a little bit here, going the age up as quickly as he has, I think. Possibly would have been best off, yeah, adding a range or something to just try and give him a bit more of a force to defend and avoid getting caught in this sort of situation. Like, ultimately, he may be able to clean this up and force Ares to go to age 3. But Ares is now looking really safe. He's got a lot of production. Got his own armory. He's got that temper upgrade already set. Koolcat trailing on economy and upgrades now. It's going to be very hard to bounce back in this one. Ooh, what's going on here? Stuttering a little bit there. Koolcat going to produce what he can to get himself out of this. He's a solid player and he's turned around a lot of games in his time, but we'll have to see if this is a insurmountable position or not, because he is down 21 villages. He's at 40, well, to 59. 38 to 50. Oh yeah, 40 to 61 now. There we go. You can say, that's not 21. And yeah, Ares is now able to play a little bit greedy. I mean, if things weren't this sort of favoured towards him, I think he probably would have opted to get this town centre towards the back, or even towards this right side, or even over towards that other gold mine on the left. But he can really start creeping forward now, making it easier for him to get on all these distant resources, and helping him set up for a good market line over in this corner later on. Koolcat, meanwhile, well, he's gone into age 3 the quicker of the two players, but he's definitely not going to be the quicker player to age 4 at this rate. But this is a handy catch for him if he can kill... What was that died then? One of the chariots. If he can kill a couple of camels. Those camels are going to be a bit of a pest. Even without the champion upgrade, if they've got numbers, they can kill the chariots. Then once they do get champion, they're going to be a real threat to chariots, and then Koolcat's going to have to bring Taranga to help tank for them. So Koolcat has bounced back a little bit here. 55 villages to 67 though. Ares with that third town centre. The closer these guys get to 180 population, the less the Vil gap matters, because it just sort of means Koolcat can press an army advantage. But in this situation, oh yeah, Koolcat is down 21 eco pop and down 22 total pop. So his army size is actually even here, but he's still fighting at an upgrade disadvantage. Like, he doesn't have any armory yet. Ares has not invested a huge amount in armory, but he hasn't been ignoring it. He's got all of his H2 armory upgrades. Well, the third of is in queue. So he's getting range damage. He's already got all of his armor upgrades, because Egyptian, you know, it's a pretty much a 2-for-1 deal there. And his melee damage. Koolcat has recovered really, really well, considering the early damage. Even have some spears back there on defense. And a healthy army here. This might be a good catch for him, because he can kill a couple of camps. Well, no, Ares is paying attention there. He's decided, I'm gonna not overstay my welcome. Koolcat now thinking, oh, maybe I can go in. No, you're too well defended there. Well, this is bad for Koolcat. He is going to lose a Taranga and take a bit of damage on another. Ares is starting to lock down the map, and like I said, he is setting up for trade in that corner. Oh no, not able to garrison in time. He does lose a priestess. This is kind of the first real pressure that Koolcat's been putting on Ares for a while. He's going to get a couple of villages out of this, but not much more than that. Oh no, he did get the one villager. himself a bit of time trying to find some space inside Ares' base here. This guy's ultimately falling, but come on, Koolcat, what's the plan? Ares nearly at 180 population, 88 to 70 villages, still in favour of Ares. So Koolcat has slipped a little behind again on army size. But if you kill some vills, he can actually really even up the economic situation. He needs to be quick though, because Ares is banking up a fair bit. He'll be able to go to age 4, or even just basically use the villagers dying as a reason to have the same size army as Koolcat. And if he does, while he's got a good bank, you know, he can really prolong fights and just win a war of attrition here. This is a nice little raid from Koolcat. He's getting a lot of value, 82 villages to 69. So that gap has really closed the Vill gap there. Killing off all these camels that are coming through. 77 to 69. So the Vill gap closing from about 20 to only being about 8. Bearing in mind, Koolcat's not quite at 180 pop yet. And Ares has managed to wall himself in quite well now. Even starting to get fortresses around the map. Which will be handy because he can start producing elephants behind this as well. And, you know, he can be nice and safe while he invests in age 4 because he's not far off it. He's waiting to get a bit more stone. And he's holding up a bit over 1,000 of each other resource. He can't spend a huge amount more on units at the moment because he is close to that pop cap. Koolcat not quite as close, and now, oh, this is very dangerous. This is not great for Koolcat. He's not walled in, and that's a lot of camels. 16 camels. He's going to need a few defenders to clean that up. And yeah, he's still not quite maxed out. Trying to take out this wall here, which isn't fully completed. But oh, Ares has still got his villager there. Oh, she was running around because she couldn't reach the wall that segment from this side. Ares probably not getting a huge amount of value out of these camels in the end. 76 vills to 78, so Koolcat's really started evening things up there. Worked his way back into the game. Starting to wall himself in. Doesn't have the wall upgrade yet, which could be handy for him. He's going to double layer. It'd be handy if he does get the upgrade behind this, I think. But so he's got some natural good chokes here. Like, these trees, this environment is really making it easy for him to wall himself in. I mean, the same thing's true for Ares, in a sense, but he's, you know, because he's set up for market, he's got to look out just that little bit further. Upgrades are now starting to look I was going to say starting to look a bit more even, but Koolcat does need to get his age 3 upgrades to finish here, so his melee damage has just done so. Melee armor is on the way, and I think if he can stall until it finishes, he can actually mount some pretty even fights. Ares has hit age 4 now, so that was that bank I was talking about that he built up with his economy lead. And now that their armies are around the same size and so are their economies, if he can sneak an age 4 upgrade or 2 in, he can, you know, really give him the chance to go in here. So Koolcat needs to win a fight the moment he gets chainmail before Damascus Steel finishes. Because I think that'll be the only way he can really get himself back in this game with the head-to-head fights. And now that Ares has started to wall himself in, it's going to be very difficult because he's just going to add fortresses behind it. He'll be able to stream elephants from different directions towards Koolcat's attempts at walling himself in. Who's, you know, basically mirroring his opponent's base. We're not quite able to break through there, but it's a very good time to get out there from Koolcat. So he is going to force Ares to have to repair a little bit, which will cost Ares a tiny amount of stone. And bearing in mind, does mean Koolcat has potentially got an opportunity to engage well here. Both players having access to healing. So Koolcat going to try and take out the fortress to prevent War Alley champion for now. Ares was actually just content to let that fortress deal as much damage as it could. Not keen on a head-to-head fight before he gets the desert conditioning or Damascus steel or any war elephants out. He's going to start adding catapults. Damascus steel about to finish. Koolcat starting to stream in a lot of units. Ares able to hold on here. Training finishing up now. So Koolcat's elephant's going to be a bit cheaper as well. It's got all these age 3 upgrades now, but there is catapults in the mix. And Ares again, he has bronze. Oh, there we go. He's got silver age range damage. It just said bronze for a second. I was like, what? No, I didn't think that was the case. And Ares is holding up well through here. Koolcat needs to be careful he's not overcommitting to this, because he is preventing Ares from investing in all the age 4 upgrades at the moment. But Koolcat needs to make sure he can also afford age 4. Unless he's confident he can just outright win a fight here, he really, when he's overstreaming some units here, he doesn't want to lose these guys, because it's just a goal down the bank, down the drain. That slinger is going to get an award for bravery, for valor. He's proving the difference here. Koolcat just trying to keep busy, keep sending units to go be a pest for his opponent. Because he needs to wear Ares down while, you know, being able to get to age 4 here. Ares in the meanwhile trying to do a bit of raiding himself. The pressure's not so much on him to raid here as it is just to get the rest of his age 4 upgrades and just take one big fight while your opponent is down that 20 pop disadvantage. Koolcat even adding a ram there. He's able to get into Ares' base here with a lot of these Taranga. Mixed melee army up here. And the fortress. Ooh, is that not properly walled in? I don't think it is. Oh no, Koolcat, no. So Ares going to be able to make quick work of this with the catapult, but bearing in mind there's a lot of Taranga in his base, killing Eco, killing a few camels. These catapults will be able to take down this fortress pretty quick here. Ares. So Koolcat getting age 4 now, and Ares taking a bit of an economic hit. He's now trailing by 9 villages. Koolcat keeping himself in the game. He's had a lot of raiding damage. Should be able to clean up those 2 camels pretty quickly if he stops to kill. If he stops to fight them and doesn't let them just kill all his Taranga here, he might be able to just keep on pushing here. That wall not properly finished, but it's not going to be not going to really make a difference because Ares is pushing through this unwalled section anyway. Oh yeah, so the Taranga did beat those camels. So Ares now is going to have to send more units to clean that up, and I don't think he is at the moment. So Koolcat's getting a lot of value out of this, 66 to 71. Well, Ares can sort of afford this actually, because it does mean bigger army size at this point, but he's not going to be able to just keep on spending forever. But neither does Koolcat. There's not a huge amount in the bank, 70 bills, just trying to get caravans. He's got a lot of army on the way. He's getting a lot of value out of that raid. Farms being taken out, houses, so this is going to starve Koolcat of a bit of wood. GG. Ares ultimately takes the game there. Oh, I get what he means, yeah. There was a time there where he'd sort of caught up. And I think he meant here he'd actually hit to age up. Yeah, somewhere along this stretch, Koolcat reckons he actually did hit the age up button. Misclick or lag or whatever. But it was impressive to see, you know, just how much damage Ares dealt when Koolcat was in like had just hit age 3 with that, you know, that big age 2 timing push. Only for Koolcat, you know, to go from being 20 villages down to seeing it through to age 4. So it was really impressive stuff.